Hi, welcome to COVID Convos with Maddie Carver. I'm Maddie Carver, and today I have with me someone who's regarded as one of the most influential workplace design experts in Philadelphia. She's got her finger on the pulse of what's going on in workplaces all across the United States. I'm so pleased to introduce Debra Breslow, Principal and Corporate Practice Leader at Meyer. Hi, Debra.
Hey, Maddie, how's it going?
Oh, hanging in there. How are you doing working from home?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful outside. The birds are chirping. The flowers are coming out. There's fresh air. Doing great.
Wow, you sound really positive.
I am actually really positive. I have a lot of blessings in my life and a lot to be thankful for, especially when I read what so many other folks are going through right now. I have no complaints at all.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. Makes me feel good, and I think we could all use a little dose of gratitude. So I like hearing that. Yeah. So how is it going working from home? Do you have a little workspace set up, or how's that going?
Well, first, let me just to set the stage here.
Okay.
I've got 2 teenage boys.
Ah.
So I'm living with, besides my husband, we have 2 basically vampires in the house. So what's going on really well is that they're up at night. So in the morning, I set myself up in my dining room, which gives me the best view looking out, and they're asleep until, 12, 1 o'clock, unless they have to get up for a Zoom call. But otherwise, they're up at night and they sleep in the morning, so I'm getting so much done. In the morning, it's fantastic. And then now I'm actually taking advantage of my porch outside, and I tend to be working outside in the afternoon.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice. So you're very productive until the vampires emerge from their lairs in the afternoon.
The vampires are hungry, and they must feed when they wake. So we feed them, and then I exit stage left outside, which is great because normally I'm working or we could be traveling on the weekends, and I'm always away somewhere. I'm rarely home. So for me, working outside now, it's an extra room that I found in my house, surrounded again by nature and the birds. It's so tranquil and lovely. It's actually been a great experience.
It's the lemonade out of lemons. I love it.
Absolutely.
So, Deb, I need to pick your brain a little bit. You are someone that is highly respected in our community, in our A&D world. And I just want to kind of pick your brain about, what you're seeing as maybe the future of what's going to be happening in workplaces and in, offices around the country. What are you hearing from your clients? What are some of their concerns?
Right. So it's really interesting because we're at this incredible moment in history where if you told me 2 months ago that we were going to be in this kind of environment, I couldn't even picture it. If I were to think that suddenly the world globally from a point of view would just stop and suddenly in corporate, everybody's working from home. For years, for the last 10 years, open workspace and working from home has been the topic of conversation, and not everyone's been able to move forward with that. And now we've ripped that Band-Aid off, and everyone has had to work from home. And as a whole, it's been a super positive experience. At this point in time, most of the clients that I'm working with out there are now starting to think, okay, what's next? So it's about taking an evaluation, what's gone well working from home, what can be improved upon, and how are we going to be phasing re-entry into the workspace? So what does re-entry look like? And there's so many factors, because before I get to my office, I leave my household, and then am I getting a car? Am I taking a train? Am I taking a bus? Am I taking a subway? Before I even get to the building where my office is located. Then when I get to the building, how am I getting up onto my floor? Do I walk directly in? Do I pass through security? And do I take an elevator? So there's many factors that have to be considered before one actually gets to the office now regarding hands-free and touchless and security checks. But then what's the workplace once you get up? So many companies are looking at what leads up and then what's that experience now? So there's going to be a phased process. This is as a whole what we're seeing is it looks like re-entry into the workforce is going to be phased. First and foremost, you have to look at your essential workers. So really, who are the essential workers that need to come back into the office? That's probably going to be the first phase. And then there'll probably be a couple of rounds of phasing next. Then what you have to do is, of course, take a look at your floor plans. So what is your organizational, functional workplace layout? Do you have a lot of private offices? Is everyone in an unassigned open benching layout? Do you have workstations that already have high panels? So of course, everyone is looking at how to keep that 6-foot distance. So there's floor plan after floor plan being drawn out where you have the radius circle of the 6 feet to be able to maintain that physical distancing. In addition to that, how are you now utilizing your rooms? So we've got clients that, may have just finished amenity centers. Well, how are these fantastic new amenity centers going to be used? So you have to look at twofold. There's the practical, how you're going to use the space, but then the organizations today really have to come together, and you have to take a look at it from, you have facilities, and then you must bring in your HR group, and you must bring in your operational group so that you can take a look at all your folks, who needs to be there, why do they need to be there, why do they need to go back to the office? Are you going back to the office because you have something that must get done in the office? Are you coming back to the office because you need to meet with somebody and look at them eye to eye? Does it need to be in a group? Are you, let's say at Meyer, we have a resource center. Do you need to go back to the office so you can pull your finishes and lay everything out? Right now at our office, somebody could be pulling finishes, letting him sit a day or two, and then someone else comes in and works on the finishes. So how are you going to be phasing your workers, but really taking a step back and saying, why are you coming to the office? And I think what has to happen is you have to look at the function of your job, but also the culture of your organization. We are a social being in this universe.
Collaborative.
So we are so collaborative. So
Yeah.
you have a lot of collaborative needs. And what we have found, especially with the larger organizations, is you definitely have pockets of personalities. So you may have a group like sales and marketing that really thrive on seeing each other. That competition when they're face to face, that work hard, play hard, be together, they're missing. They really need to get back and see someone. You may have a group in IT where they are just fine being by themselves. They could be working on their own. They could be staying from home for the next year if they didn't have to come in, and they don't necessarily have that need. I'm absolutely generalizing, but you basically.
But I get the point. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got personalities. You've got personalities in departments and needs from the different personalities. So you have to take that into effect. So it's almost like a little pie. Then organizations' big concerns you have to have into effect now is mental wellness, anxiety, fear.
Yeah.
Because coronavirus, COVID-19 is very personal, and how it affects me is very different from the person next to me and the person next to me. I've got 4 people in my household, and I know it's affecting each of us in a very different manner. And if you are running an organization, all your employees are going to have their own stories and how it's affecting them. So you have to address mental health, wellness in the workplace. So one of the largest, I would say, in my crystal ball, the number one factors that folks are going to look at are wellness. So they're going to look at WELL and the WELL program, because that involves not just sustainability, but it also addresses a lot of the HVAC issues, OSHA. It addresses nutrition and mental health and wellness. So we are actually in our office putting together a WELL checklist that folks have been hiring us for to come through and ascertain. We have a member at our office, Phil Burkett. He is actually part of a WELL task force regarding coronavirus, and they're coming together and putting together an action plan. So coming together, looking at WELL is going to be very key.
Wow, Deb. I mean, people are gonna love hearing this when it's posted, because this is good information. You're talking about, the aspects of a workforce or a culture, and looking at people's individual needs. I think companies try to do that now, but I don't know that they're always successful in doing that. I am with these videos trying to focus on what the silver linings will be. And I can't help but think, everything that you're saying about knowing what your individual employees' needs are, knowing what your individual groups within your organization need. I mean, that can't be anything but positive. I love hearing that it's going to be more of an individualized kind of a focus.
Yes.
Don't you think that's something that's kind of exciting, that there's something out of necessity comes some flowers will bloom, right?
Absolutely. The flowers are definitely going to be blooming.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see where are they blooming and where are there weeds that are being overgrown.
Right.
And who's willing to snip something. So in this area, it's going to be very interesting to see how folks come together and the plans they come up with. This is a time right now for organizations where you cannot over communicate. So it's important currently for people to have daily check-ins, weekly check-ins, and to be able to keep up activities to help keep those connections. So I know within our office, every week we have different events. So on a corporate team, we may have a corporate happy hour. We had a big architectural design charrette last week. We also had last week, we have everything from posting your graduation picture, your yearbook picture, to cooking. We have someone in our office who cooks. So she hosted an hour of You Can Cook with Aman, and she shows her amazing recipes from Iraq. Or we had Gardening with Craig, and he shows how to weed and garden. So you had different ways for not only folks to participate with each other, but you have your employees actually hosting these sessions. They're the ones hosting it. So that individual who's hosting that session holds a different stake in the game. And then everyone else that watches it, not everyone partakes. You partake when it's important to you. And it's just a way of also connecting and socializing and meeting that need, because that need isn't for everyone. So it's offering a variety of ways for folks to connect and to ask them, how are you also working? What do you need? Do you need a sit-to-stand desk? Do you need dual monitors? Do you need better ink? What are your needs that you need on a personal level? We're actually working on a survey, and we're part of One Global Design, who's putting together I'm part of a workplace strategy group, and we actually have had already a workplace strategy summit, and there's different folks within the group, and we're actually putting out a survey to address a lot of these questions for organizations so they can get a handle on how's it going. For some folks, it's going terrific. Some folks they're finding are way more efficient and super happy coming working from home. Others, they really need to come back into the office, making sure that you listen and then you can plan out accordingly.
I love that. I mean, that can be nothing but good. So, let me just ask you, this is an interesting time for young designers who may just be graduating, who have just entered a new firm, who are just kind of, burgeoning and just trying to spread their wings. How can you maybe suggest a way for them to keep their heads up, to keep inspired, to stay motivated, to really start their career in a way that's positive in a time that may not be so positive?
So if you look at it this way, you're actually folks that are graduating college, they've just finished university and working so hard to get to this point. They are hitting the workforce amongst peers. So they're going to be the class that graduated and came into the workforce during the coronavirus pandemic, right? This is a life event that they are on the forefront and they're going to be part of. So they're going to walk away 10 years from now, looking back, and they will have their own story to share as far as that's concerned. During this time, there are so many webinars, events, design happenings, resources. I don't have time to read books right now because I'm so caught up in all the activities, and there are a lot of events happening that normally have a charge that are being offered by organizations for free. So especially for these kids graduating college where they've just paid all their college tuition, not that they want to go back and take any other classes, but to know that there's no charge for all these events that they could go to. Yeah. Incredible opportunities. So the other thing would be to take time and take a moment and breathe. Take a moment. We are in such a fast-paced world that this is time to say, hey, breathe. This too shall pass. We will get through this. Take this opportunity to reflect upon yourself. What's important to you? What are your own personal core values? And be able to do your work for your organization, as well as any kind of work you want to do for your own personal growth. And that's anything from a meditation to, if you love art and haven't had the chance to pick up a paintbrush, pick up a paintbrush. Do it yourself. Whether you own a house or rent an apartment, paint that wall. Work out your creative. It's a great opportunity for that.
Well, I think that's some fantastic advice from Deb Breslow, and I think there's a lot of designers, young and seasoned, who are going to take that to heart. So we've come to the most important part of my COVID Convos series, Deb. What song or what music can you suggest for my quarantine playlist?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, as I said, I'm in a household of other people.
Okay.
And so I'm mostly on call. So I'm often, I hear everyone else's music. I'm a Louis Armstrong, John Coltrane fan.
Yeah.
But I have recently been turned on to, from my husband, Pokey LaForge.
Ooh, I'm not familiar.
He has a song. I can't really say on this channel what the title of the song is, but it's good. If you look him up and you see an inappropriate title, that's the song.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a great song. So I've actually been loving that song, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but my senior has turned me on to Travis Scott.
Travis Scott. Ooh, I'm a Travis Scott fan. Yes. Okay. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Pokey LaForge and Travis Scott. We love it. Debra.
Throw in some John Coltrane, though. You gotta throw in the John.
Little John Coltrane and a little glass of wine, maybe. I don't know. That sounds pretty good. Or a great big goblet, one or the other. Hey, Debra Breslow, thank you so much for joining me. This has been so fun, so informative, and I can't wait to see you in person someday so I can give you an elbow bump and an air kiss.
Thank you, Maddie. I want to throw an offer out there.
Yes.
For any college kids just graduating or coming near graduation, if they want to reach out to me at dbreslow@meyerdesigninc.com, I am happy to look at their portfolio and to take this time to take 15 minutes, half an hour, and review it with them. If they want to send it to me, I don't mind at all talking through their portfolio and helping them on this next step. We got to pay it forward, and we got to tell them it's going to be okay.
Deb, that's amazing. And I'm gonna promote that. I'm gonna put that out there. That is a fantastic offer that I know there's gonna be a lot of excited kids that are gonna take you up on that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Always great talking to you, Maddie.
You too, Deb. Thanks so much. Take care with those vampires. Mwah.
You too. Bye now.
Bye-bye.